Legislature passes Minimum Wage Act. The Legislative Yuan on December 12 passed the Minimum Wage Act, which stipulates mechanisms to review the minimum wage annually and penalize employers who pay workers below the minimum pay stated in labor agreements. The act, a pledge that President Tsai Ing-wen made during her 2016 presidential campaign, was first approved on October 8 by the legislature's Social Welfare and Environmental Hygiene Committee and was passed on the third reading based on motions proposed by DPP legislators. The act requires the Ministry of Labor to establish a minimum wage review committee, which would convene every year in the third quarter to discuss whether the minimum wage should be adjusted. Any adjustments should take changes in the Consumer Price Index (CPI) into account, the act says. This act will adequately protect workers. Minister of Labor Xu Ming-chun said on the next day after labor groups asked how annual changes in the Consumer Price Index would be taken into account when the rate is being decided. The act states that any employer found to be paying its employees less than the minimum wage will be fined from 20,000 new Taiwan dollars to 1.5 million new Taiwan dollars. Their names will be published, and they have to comply with regulations within a mandated period. The Taiwan Labor Front applauded efforts by lawmakers across party lines to set aside their ideological differences and pass the bill in the year's last plenary session. Many have questioned the necessity of having a minimum wage act, given that the minimum wage has increased for 8 straight years. However, deliberations over the minimum wage adjustment often proceeded in a chaotic manner, which magnified the importance and urgency of legislating the minimum wage, the labor rights group said in a statement. We hope that the act will effectively raise the salaries of entry-level workers, as a reasonable, transparent and stable minimum wage adjustment mechanism is developed, it said. Global supply chain disruptions present both challenges and opportunities. And the fundamental solutions to the labor shortage problem are to continue raising workers' salaries and improving work conditions, the labor rights group said. The Chinese National Association of Industry and Commerce, Taiwan affirmed the passage of the much-anticipated act, saying it provides a legal basis for adjusting the minimum wage. We hope that the Ministry of Labor's research team can include representatives from industrial and commercial sectors and their input. This would contribute to more focused, just, and convincing discussions at the Minimum Wage Review Committee, the association said. In the long run, there needs to be an adjustment of the industrial structure to enhance industrial competitiveness and raise workers' productivity, which would simultaneously boost growth in corporate profits and wages, the association said. However, many labor groups on December 12 said that the law should require minimum wage hikes to be at least as high as CPI growth. Xu replied that there is no law anywhere in the world stipulating that minimum wage hikes must not be lower than a certain index. CPI growth is a must reference, she said, adding that it has been used when adjusting the minimum wage in recent years. Legislature.
立法机构
legislator, legislator,
立法委员
stipulate, stipulate,
规定载明详细说明
mechanism, mechanism,
体制机制制度结构机械组件装置
penalize, penalize,
因违反法规处罚惩罚使陷入不利的情况
presidential campaign, presidential campaign,
总统竞选活动
convene, convene,
举行会议召集开会
employee, employee,
员工受雇者
employer, employer,
雇主
applaud, applaud,
鼓掌称赞赞许
ideology, ideology,
意识形态政治制度的基本思想体系信仰原则
deliberation, deliberation,
详细的考虑或讨论深入与慎重的思考
chaotic, chaotic,
混乱无秩序的毫无头绪的
entry level, entry level,
体制最基层的职称初级程度的产品最廉价的基本功能的
transparent, transparent,
透明的明确易懂的
fundamental, fundamental,
基础的根本的基本的
representative, representative,
代表代理人美国众议院议员
convincing, convincing,
令人相信的具有说服力的确实的
competitiveness, competitiveness,
竞争力
productivity, productivity,
生产力
workplace guidelines stipulate that everything must meet the necessary safety standards. These automatic cameras have a specially designed focusing mechanism. The mechanism responsible for collecting taxes requires some adjustments. Mandate, mandate. The company's new policy mandates that all employees complete the safety training by the end of the month. The CEO issued a mandate for all departments to reduce energy consumption to meet sustainability goals. Mandatory, mandatory,
形容词强制要求的必须执行的
competition, competition.
竞赛比赛竞争
In the game business, companies work hard to win the competition by making the best products. Competitor, competitor.
竞争者对手参赛者
Last year, they sold 2 times more computers than their competitors did. Competitiveness, competitiveness.
竞争力
The company's competitiveness is attributed to its commitment to quality, efficiency, and continuous innovation. Competitive, competitive.
形容词竞争的比赛的
Acting is very competitive. You've got to really push yourself if you want to succeed.